Divorced Dad Diaries, day 65. It's my Tariki weekend, which means I get Friday off. But my internet has been running slow since last Thursday for a whole week. So, a video game came out last week, Space Marine Remastered, and I wanted to install it. So, Thursday morning, got up before work, set it to install, went to work, thinking I'd be able to jump on and check it out on my lunch break and get started. Checked it out on my lunch break. And it had only installed about 10% of a 40 gigabyte game. And I thought, that's a bit strange. I'd noticed things had been taking longer to load at work, but I assumed that was just a server issue or something. So I did all the usual steps, reset the modem, change plugs, all that sort of stuff, and realised it was still going really slow. So I did a speed test, and it came back that I was only getting 3 megabytes per second download speed. To give you a bit of frame of reference for those who aren't tech-minded, I'm paying for fibre, which gives me 50 megabytes per second, apparently. And I did a bit of research, and discovered that the average internet speed in New Zealand in 2010, 15 years ago, was 3 megabytes per second. If you were on the internet back then, you might remember how you'd click on a YouTube video and you'd have to wait 30 seconds for it to load before you could hit play. That's what I've been dealing with for a week. And if it sounds like a bit too much that I can't survive without the internet, you have to consider the fact that my entire house is built around the internet. I don't even have regular TV. When I want to watch regular TV, I stream it through TVNZ, through my Xbox, through my phone or whatever. And I haven't been able to do that. No TV, no movies, no online games. That's not so much of a big deal anyway, but for a whole week. And even the kids, when they're trying to watch YouTube, it crashes, it takes ages to load. So we've all just not been able to do the things that we normally do when we're at home. So I gave 2 Degrees a call. To their credit, I've called them multiple times throughout this process, and every single time they picked up within 10 to 15 minutes, which I think is pretty crazy. But I gave them a call and just said, hey, yeah, my internet's going slow. So they go through the usual questions. Have you reset your modem? Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, yeah, bro, done all that. Let's skip to the part where we fix the problem. And they said, yeah, all right, we'll get a technician. We'll make an order and they'll come out and have a look. So that was Thursday. Do you think the technicians came on Friday? Nope. Do you think they came on the weekend? Nope, of course not. It's the weekend. So Monday rolls around. They still haven't turned up, so I give 2 Degrees a call again and say, hey, what's up? And they said, oh, yeah, a technician will have a look at your case today, and, we'll let you know. So I got a text saying, call us back. And I'm like, but I just called you, but whatever. I call them back, and they say, oh, yeah, so we're going to need to run another diagnostic test. Can you plug an Ethernet cable into, a PC or something and tell us what speed you're getting? And at this point, I realised I don't have an Ethernet cable. It's not on my list. It's not something I thought I would need. I tell them that and they say, yeah, we can send you one. It's going to take 2 to 3 working days to arrive though. So I messaged my boss and just said, hey, I'm going to need to take an hour. And then I thought, I'll whip down to the second-hand shop. Some of them have boxes of cables that they just sell for $1. But of course, it's a Monday. They're not open. So I thought I would pop over to the warehouse and see what cables they have. But, Do you think they had Ethernet cables? They had 2 empty spaces where Ethernet cables usually go. So I walked outside and went to Noel Leeming. I always go to the warehouse to buy electronics. I always forget that there's a Noel Leeming 4 doors down, maybe 30, 40 metres away. You can see it from the entrance to the warehouse, and I always forget it's there. So I popped over to Noel Leeming, and and I had a look at the Ethernet cable section. I had to record this because I didn't think people would believe me, but they were sold out too. Fortunately, right around the corner, they had 10-metre cables, so I just bought an excessively long one. But then I remembered why I didn't have an Ethernet cable to begin with. You've got to be shitting me. So I've got 2 USB-C, a USB, an SD card slot. An SD card slot. Who uses SD cards? I don't even know what that thing's meant to be. HDMI, USB, a headphone jack. No plug for an Ethernet cable. No plug for a network cable. So I just took the next logical step, which was to move my TV and my Xbox out into the garage because I knew that my Xbox has a Ethernet cable plug-in. So I could plug the Ethernet cable into the Xbox and then do a speed test through the Edge browser on my Xbox through the TV and get that result so I can then send that to 2 Degrees. Let it be known that I'm a problem solver. But that wasn't enough, was it? No, they then sent me a series of instructions on how to do a proper diagnostics test using a third-party app through your PC, so I had to tell them, No, I can't. I don't have an Ethernet port on my laptop. I can't install third-party software on my laptop as well to do their little diagnostics things. I'm like, isn't this the sort of stuff a technician should be doing? Isn't that why you asked for one to come out? Like, the whole week prior? So after I replied and said that no, I can't do that, they then sent me a list of questions. What time of day is it happening? Every time. What's the issue? It's slow. What device are you using? All of them. Are you using wired or wireless? Well, it was just Wi-Fi, but I guess it's both now. And if you're using wireless, how far away are you? I don't know. I'm not a tape measure. So after I send that email to them, they then reply. I've saved all these emails because it's just ridiculous. I can't show you because then you'll see my email address. But after that, they came back to me and said, cool, thanks for answering those questions. Can you run this diagnostic test? Here, use these cables, plug this thing into your PC. And I was like, oh. So I replied to that email and said, if you look further down the email chain, you see I've already applied and that I can't do that test. So they then replied and said, oh, that's fine. If you can't do that test, can you please answer these 5 questions? Blah, blah, blah. Exact same 5 questions I'd already answered. So I replied to that email and said, I've already answered these questions and I cannot run the diagnostics test. So they then reply again and say, that's fine. Can you answer these 5 questions? What is going on in their customer service team? And at this point, I knew that I couldn't be polite anymore. What did I say? Let's have a look. I said, can you please ensure you are reading the email chain? I have already provided this information. At this stage, it would actually be quicker to cancel my contract and switch providers than get this problem sorted. Here is the information again. This level of customer service is atrocious. And please don't respond to this with yet another request to do a diagnostics test that I cannot do. And then I copy and pasted the information that I'd already sent them before. That was on Tuesday. Do you think they bothered to reply? So Thursday rolls around, I give them a call again. So after listening to Wandering Eye by Fat Freddy's Drop for about the upteenth time, I got on the phone with the fella, told him my internet was slow, and he says, okay, I want you to reset your router. And oh my god, I could feel the rage boiling inside of me. It's like, breathe, respond, don't react. Laid it all out in front of him. He goes, puts me on hold, comes back 10 minutes later and say, oh yeah, there's a technical fault, Enable is looking into it, you're not the only person in this area who has that problem. And I'm just like, why couldn't I be told that earlier? And now I'm tuning in from the editing closet because I was editing this clip and then realised that the internet's actually been kind of okay this late morning, so I decided to check the speed and it's been fixed. Oh my god, like, I should have made this video earlier, maybe it would have got fixed earlier. Anyway, at least I get to have a regular weekend. We're going to do movie night now, because we haven't been able to do it all week. And enjoy your long weekend, folks, if you're from New Zealand, and I'll catch you on the flip side.